Hello and welcome to our latest edition of the Sales Circle, where we intend to bring you plenty of hints, tips, advice on everything to do with sales, marketing and business growth. The idea is if you're looking to start a business, or you own a business, or perhaps you work within a business, hopefully these videos will give you everything you need to know to make a great success of it. My name is Rob Spence, your host. I'm the Managing Director of Paragon Sales Solutions, and I'm thrilled, excited and honoured to introduce to you my good friend, dare I say friend, Darren Jones of Instinct HR. Darren,
good to see you again, Rob.
No, thanks for...
Delighted to be here.
Thanks for coming. Thanks for dressing up.
You're welcome.
You look...
Yes, it makes a change, doesn't it?
For once, I feel underdressed.
I know. I thought I'd compete on your level.
Stop it. Yeah. But look, really appreciate you joining us here today. I know this has been a long time coming, but had it booked in for a while. So tell us about yourself and tell us about Instinct HR.
Yeah. So I'm Darren. I'm an independent HR consultant. My business is Instinct HR. It's just into its 4th year of business.
Congratulations.
No, thank you. And it's been, I have to say, it's probably been the best part of. I've had a few careers in my on my journey. Probably the most rewarding is as you would know, working for yourself. It's every day is fun, a real variety. So my business supports SMEs with all of their people needs, so whether that's from people strategy or operational people activity. But yeah, I'm based up in Nottingham, so I support clients all over the UK, in essence. It's really good fun.
Fantastic. And I think what I've learned to love about you and your approach to HR, I think HR can have not a dirty word, but a serious word. It's a very serious topic. We always think about HR as being the telling off department, so to speak. But you look at things a little differently to that, don't you?
Yeah, I think it's particularly working with SMEs as well, and almost regardless of that, HR, it's about people, isn't it? You know, and yes, you know, the business pays, the businesses, my clients pay my salary, if you like. So I have a responsibility to clients, but of course I represent the people. So I think my approach is very balanced and equally pragmatic. Can HR be fun? Well, you know, people can be fun. So for me, it's a really simple ethos. My job is to help business leaders, business managers get the best out of their people. And that's probably about more working with them to develop themselves and their style so they can get the best out of their people. So I think I represent both parties fairly equally. And probably more importantly, independently. And I think that's why SMEs like somebody who's slightly external or is external to the business, because it's a different perspective.
Yeah, absolutely. And like I say, you can kind of take more of that helicopter view, as it were, of both parties, everything that's going on for the best of the business, I guess.
Yeah. So I can be the conscience for that business owner. I can be a critical friend, you know, so it's not just about keeping everything fuzzy and warm and rosy all the time. It's, you know, if there's a tough message and it's the right thing to do for the right reason, then that needs to be delivered for sure.
Amazing. So obviously, your business has been going now 4 years,
yes,
just about, give or take. And we'll come on to that in due course, but tell me about your career. Obviously, you're very young and vibrant, so your career's been a bit...
It's a short career.
It couldn't have been that long, but take us back. So how have you come this far? How did this play?
Take you back to black and white days.
Victorian times.
Victorian times. Yes, well, little cap and chimney sweeps were clearly...
I saw you in Poppins.
So my career started in sales. I started in retail management. Was, I guess, my first kind of career. But prior to that, I'd had probably about 18 months in retail in the Northwest. So I guess as a youngster, as a child, because I worked, the reason I started in retail is because I worked in a retail job whilst I was still at school and then through college. And I kind of stayed with it, and that took me into management quite quickly. And I just love that rapid progression, early on responsibility for people, and the dialogue direct with customer. And you know, sales can occasionally, and maybe a surprise to you, be perceived as a bit of a dirty word. I know, straight through the middle. But for me, and it was always about people, and that's why I guess ultimately I probably ended up in HR, because it's not about just selling at any cost. It's doing the right thing for that customer, you know. So love sales early. I love retail. That took me into training and development. So I was with Boots in the Northwest. I came over to Nottingham in the you'd be shocked by these dates, in the mid-90s. Yeah, I know.
Well, shouldn't be early, isn't it?
It should have been still been naffy, shouldn't it? And I had a great few years traveling the UK, training in computer systems into retail environments, and that's ultimately took me into a central head office role, which was around project management, all within the umbrella of learning and development, which is part of HR. And so I loved the kind of training and helping develop and educate people. The project management piece was great, and that probably then again for maybe the next 8 years, I got involved in some quite big implementations for SAP HR with Boots as well, and various digital transformation projects with other companies thereafter. But so kind of project management, learning and development were fairly key early on, and that took me into core HR. So I spent a good few years. HR is a very broad subject, from recruitment, reward, disciplinaries, employee satisfaction, dismissal, whatever else, redundancies if need be. So very broad, but I had a lot of experience and time spent within developing HR strategy, HR policy, working with some senior leaders and developing like central call center for people advice, which was quite interesting. So, but the bit I really enjoyed, I think it was probably a culmination of all of the roles I'd done prior to that, was HR business partnering, right? Which in essence is being a HR partner, HR consultant, if you like, to senior leaders within the organisation I was working in, and that's very much an advisory role. It was about developing the right people strategy to deliver the company goals, but it was also back to that learning and development piece. So I got involved quite a few years around leadership development and setting up and designing programs to develop individuals and teams of people. So I kind of took all of that throughout my career, ultimately into setting up the business. So it felt like HR was the right thing to do, because I'd always been involved in managing people and the HR subject matter throughout most of my career.
Yeah.
That felt like a natural step. Yeah.
So that then takes us to April 2020.
Yes.
Is when the business, is that right? When the business started, 2020?
Yeah, absolutely.
But so tell me about, what was the catalyst behind it all? Because by the sounds of things, you've had a great career. I'm sure, no doubt, you've been on a good salary, the good pension, everything else.
Yes.
And you've just gone, no,
Sort of leave behind.
I don't want that.
Yeah.
So what happened?
Well, the time was right, I guess. So I left the corporate world early 2020. So I was made redundant from my job with long service, which was nice because it gave me a bit of financial stability and actually enabled me to step back completely. I think, if I've been really honest, the last couple of years in that corporate role, despite the nice car and the nice salary, were not fun, not enjoyable, and it was probably the first time in my career that I was not happy doing the job I really should have loved doing. So yeah, that was tough. And when the opportunity came not to do that and have a little bit of financial stability to think about something different, I took it, jumped at the chance, and you immediately felt the weight lift off my shoulders. And it probably wasn't. It wasn't for a good many weeks, probably months later, that I really started to get clarity on what I wanted to do. So I'd always worked in the corporate world, and I went on beyond that. But before the business, or when the business was really in its early days, I worked in higher education. I worked in local council, local government on a couple of fixed-term contracts, and that was fascinating. I think just to learn something different sector completely. But I guess the clarity I thought I had was I definitely didn't want to go back into a corporate employed role.
Yeah.
Really keen to do something for me, and you'll understand this, but the energy that comes with just the idea of setting up my own business and what would it be, what would it look like, and shaping that from its early days great fun and, highly collaborative. My family were part of that. Coming up with a name for a business that wasn't already taken was a nightmare.
Very hard in these days.
It's just horrendous. But just that whole journey of getting a limited company set up, registered, company name, logo, branding. It was fun. It was fun. Not least of all, pursuing what is it I offer as a business, and how do I take that to prospective clients. And that was just something so new and such variety, and it just gave me massive energy.
And I guess that must have been a complete breath of fresh air, because the corporate world itself is no matter what no matter what business you work in, things take a long time. It's like turning a massive ship in the middle of the ocean. All these little cogs, decisions aren't made overnight. So you've gone from, I guess, different processes, project management, different systems, protocols, where if you want to change something, it takes 6 to 12 months, to then going, I want to call my business Instinct HR or Instinct Consulting, as it was originally. You can make those decisions there and then. Was that a bit of a weird culture?
Oh, it's sort of
shock to you?
It was liberating. I was kind of in pursuit of it, but I didn't know what it looked like. And getting stuff done, being the decision maker, being the accountable person, making things happen. It's even today, into my 4th year, it looks a bit different now to how it did when it started. But that sense of it's me and my close network, my support group, whatever, my clients, and beyond that. So I've got trusted people that I can call upon, but day to day, it's me, and I make those. I'm not ticking other people's boxes effortlessly and just for the sake of it, and I'm not chasing other people's data. So really rewarding, actually, and that still gives me energy today.
Good, amazing. So you sat there sort of early 2020, mid to early 2020. Obviously, you need clients. You sat there, it's all great, lovely having great logos, branding, and so on, and great ideas. But was there any nervousness around getting the work in? Did you have clients lined up? How did that kind of all look?
It was an interesting one. I guess it came. I think my first piece of work came in probably within 2 months.
Wow.
And that was it was a referral from somebody who I guess had seen what I was doing. It wasn't necessarily in dialogue with that person, but I clearly had seen, largely through LinkedIn, I guess. So LinkedIn was a incredibly powerful platform for me to get my business out there, my personal brand, people knowing what I was doing. So that came quite early on, but I worked with a company called Go Mad Thinking in Loughborough, and they were really generous in taking me on to a bit of a trial for one of their management programs that they were piloting, and they wanted some feedback. And that journey, it was called a 30-day dash, and it was literally a 30-day dash. So we had expert consultancy support. And at that time, I had kind of had the idea for Instinct Consulting. The business was registered, my primary services, and it was that really helped me kind of focus down on Instinct HR.
Right.
Because the consulting business, although it was like 2-3 months old at that point, in my mind was just everything I'd done in the past that I could deliver to clients. And I knew my SME market was where my clients would be, but it was just too broad. And it was about that time I was going through that support with Go Mad Thinking. I was talking to good people like yourself. I found you on LinkedIn, and Jenny Cross, people who would give established business owners who would give a little bit of their time just to help me, which was just incredible to think people would do that. And a lot of the advice was the same, so all these different people saying niche down, niche down, niche down. People need to know what you do. Yeah. So I changed the business name to Instinct HR. I focused the services that the business delivered to be really clear and understandable. And I guess it was the combination of building relationships, looking to extend my professional network and my business network, largely within the East Midlands at that point. Whether the first client started to come through, because people saw me regularly enough. They understood what I did because the business name said it, and then that sparked the conversation of, well, what kind of HR do you do? You know, and I might need some of that. So it was all about relationships. It was all about relationships and building. So I know it doesn't fit with your business model, but I've never gone out and cold called. You know, I've not had a need to do that. I thought about it at points like, crikey, you know. But for me, it was all about developing relationships with the right people that may or may not have been a prospective client. But as that ecosystem expands, my name's out there, people learn about me, hopefully trust me, like me. Not everybody will.
It's debatable at times.
It's up for question. And it comes. It comes. And I think it's holding that. I think a lot of small businesses fail quite quickly, don't they? Within the first 12 months or so. I think it's holding that confidence that you're doing the right things and it will come. When it comes, you're not always in control. You know? And you may not always be ready, but if you're doing the right things, it will.
And I think, you know, the key word you said, well, there's a couple of things I want to pick up on there, but the key word you've used there is relationship, which is fantastic. Because the funny thing is, every guest we've had on this show so far has mentioned the word relationship and the importance of relationships. And ironically, my book, Relationship Selling, is just sat behind Darren, available on Amazon, by the way. But
almost sold out.
I know.
New batch on order.
They're available in Oxfam.
That's where I got mine.
Yeah, probably. But it's all about that relationship. And I think where a lot of small business owners fail or struggle is they think that everything has to be a transaction. They think that they're not going to do anything without, or they don't want to do anything without getting something back from it. But actually, we've got to give and give and give, and eventually the return will come, won't it? Now, I want to focus back on what you're mentioning, and we've not prepared for this, I do apologise, but you mentioned...
Surprise.
Yeah, you mentioned you could do 10 press-ups, so if you wouldn't mind... But you mentioned, obviously, when you started the business, you were seeking, we use the word support, help and advice, and asking questions from business leaders. Do you think that that's a great thing for people looking to start a business to do, to reach out and try and get some kind of mentorship, to try and just pinch 10 minutes of someone's time just to chew their ears off?
Without fail, and it's not just at the start; it's all the way through, and that evolves over time. How it looks. For me, it was more of a curiosity, and yet you could probably class it as research, couldn't you? But the more people I talk to from different sectors who run their own business and learning about their experiences, hopefully sharing a bit about what I do, you're going to get some little nuggets of advice that will be really key. That's where the whole relationship stuff comes from, and giving something back. Invest. You've got to give something up front. Probably for nothing. I think we all have to do it.
And
as you get clients and establish, you do it by adding extra value above and beyond what they may be expecting. So it may not be for free, but it's adding value to what you do for that client.
Absolutely. And I assume because you're here on this incredible vlog that you're willing to give your time back now to new people that are looking to start a business, are you, I assume?
100%. Yeah, it's something I've always done, but in maybe a different way. So when I was in employed roles, I worked with the Young Enterprise, who support schools with helping young people set up businesses as part of their school project and run their own business and present and sell products and all that stuff. So I was initially a business advisor. I was then the chair. This is about 2010 for the Young Enterprise. So I guess young people very invested in because I think they can often get a tough press, but there's so much talent out there. And right through to today, I do some work with local academies, doing like career advice, interview techniques, and all of that kind of stuff. So I think to give my time to others, endless video calls with people, from my immediate or extended network who are going through a similar thing, just offering advice. And if they take a little bit, great, they don't have to listen to it, but it's my experience, it's my journey. I guess what is key within that, all of our journeys are different.
Yeah.
But without it, I wouldn't be this far.
No.
It's critical, absolutely critical.
And I like that. And it's been my experience of the business community as a whole anyway. I think we're we're taught either subliminally or subliminally that business owners are fierce, they're harsh, it's a dog-eat-dog world, it's really competitive. I felt like I'd walk into business meetings and have to fight people toe-to-toe to get business or fight the competition. But actually, when you're in business, you find that actually people are more helpful than you, even
100%.
the quote-unquote these competitors that I should be researching every day and fearful of. Even competitors, it's more of a collaboration than a competition out there.
We haven't used a C word. We haven't used a C word yet, have we? But
which one? Oh, okay.
But it is, and that's always been my attitude towards it. So I think, for me as a HR consultant, I think I've got my USP that stands me aside from other HR consultants, but the strength is in collaboration. And some of those video calls I mentioned, several people over the last 18 months or so have, came to me to talk to me about how I set up my consultancy because they're thinking you're doing the same thing, and you just feed each other. So collaboration is critical, and my experience has been people invested in helping others. There's the odd idiot, who you all see at networking events who just want to hand out cards, sell you exactly on the spot what they want to sell you, and that's not what it's about.
No.
If you go networking to make immediate sales, you're going to be disappointed or frustrated.
You're struggling,
and probably quite poor.
So well, that takes nicely into one of the things I want to talk to you about, the networking, because I know that you network. I may be saying off camera that you've toned down the networking a little bit more. So what's been your whole experience with networking with the business?
So my initial position was I'm just so uncomfortable with it.
Really?
It's not me. The idea of walking into a room with a load of strangers who are looking quite smart in their suits and just chatting, chewing the cud is just not me. So it was really uncomfortable at the start, and I made some good local connections. Eloise, who I know from Nottingham, who has been super supportive on my journey and hopefully be on hers as well. She was my kind of comfort blanket to say, can I come networking with you, please? Because, a grown man, and I just didn't enjoy it. And as I got into it, I don't think that's ever really changed. I don't like walking into that room, and I don't like the spotlight on me necessarily. Probably more of an introvert, maybe a bit of a surprise to you. So I think it was about trying the right thing. I knew I had to do it because it was right for my personal and business brand. So I threw myself in, and probably in the first 12 months, my gosh, out 2 or 3 times a week. My personal opinion now is the networking market's saturated. So much stuff. People want to sign you up to subscription models with free coaching, free advice, free tools and templates. It's not me. I get to this stage of my life and career, and I think I kind of, I'm all right. I'm good. I need different kind of advice and support. I don't need this kind of coach and that kind of coach, and I just don't need it. So I think you do the Leicester Business
Network Group,
and it's that kind of environment which I think is super supportive. So for me, networking has to be local. My clients are all over, but I don't network all over. So I've really just narrowed it down to 2 main things. So one of those is the Nottingham City Business Club, which is a monthly lunch on a Friday afternoon. So it's a bit of a treat for a hard-working month. I've done that for about a year now, so it feels a different kind of environment to the turn up, meet and mingle and chat and conversation. I think that's important, and I've made some great friendships through probably both of those approaches. But I guess it's got to be moderated because client time on the business, time with clients is key, particularly when it's largely just myself in the business with a few associates at times. I can't be out networking all the time, but it definitely serves a purpose, and it's definitely generated referrals and recommendations over time. And as I say, I've got some good friendships. Probably yourself included in that.
Oh, I didn't know where you were going.
You've made the cut. You've made the cut.
So we were saying off camera that obviously networking is important, but I think business owners, we can get very hung up on going to every networking event. And I'll be honest, look, from me, I sometimes get a bit of FOMO, fear of missing out. You see on LinkedIn, you see this, everyone going out, and you see the same faces at literally every event. I've started to take like a bit of a different viewpoint on that. I used to think, oh, look at these people going to all these networking events. They must be doing really well. I'll be honest, I start to look at it now and go, well, if they're doing really well, they shouldn't have time to network.
Indeed.
It can, like I said, there's so many. There's the casual kind of ones. There's obviously the strict fierce BNIs. There's memberships. There's online ones. There's something for everyone. And I think I think you get to a stage as a business owner, you find the ones that work for you. You know, if you want that strict regime, take one of those. If you want a nice casual Friday lunch, you know, take one of those kind of thing. But obviously, when you've then been growing Instinct HR, what's been like the key tool you've used to grow your business and I guess acquire new clients?
So it's probably the thing that people advise you not to rely on, and it's recommendations and referrals. So, you know, genuinely, and as I alluded to earlier, I've not been out and directly sold myself to you know, cold called or, you know, email marketing, not done any of that stuff. I focused on, I guess, you know, marketing largely through LinkedIn. So LinkedIn's really powerful, certainly in the early days, to establish that, to create that exposure for me and for the business. And people keep seeing me. Some will get fed up with it, some might come back for more. But LinkedIn's critical, so that's my marketing platform.
Right.
I don't do paid marketing, so I guess it was about my early clients, working with those people, giving a bit more, adding value to their business, growing as their business grows. That's clearly the idea for both of us. And over time, that created referrals and recommendations. So I've ended up with, no coincidence, in my first group of clients were financial services, a couple of marketeers, and IT. And they are the biggest sectors I support today, either for my retained clients or my on-demand clients, because those people, as they've worked with me over time, have recommended me to others. And that's, for me, there's no bigger compliment. There's no bigger. They wouldn't do that if they didn't have the trust and confidence, because becomes about their reputation. So
of course it does.
Yeah, really nice, actually. Really nice.
But there's no shame in that. There's no harm in that. I understand what you're saying. It's very hard to always rely on referrals, recommendations. The olden days would call it word of mouth, I think, you know, a little bit to a degree.
Yeah.
But I think, if anything, that's a great place to be as a business, because if you've got all these inbound leads and inbound work to a point where the business is growing, and I know you're taking on an employee very soon as well, so congratulations on that. But it's always nice to know that actually, if all of a sudden you turn that sales and marketing tap on and start looking at paid ads and start doing pay-per-click and start doing telemarketing done by Paragon Sales Solutions and God knows what else we can provide, all of a sudden that, I know they're not your ambitions, but if all of a sudden the recommendations dry up, you've got another source, haven't you?
Yeah, absolutely. And I guess if that was my ambition, that's clearly a channel. And my sense is I know enough good people, including yourself, who I would go to for that support. So, you know, for me, that's not my business growth model. That's not where I see it coming from. But it works, and it's, you know, for many, it's invaluable. You know, it really is.
Good. So when I deliver sales training, I tell people the story of how you and I got to know each other.
Okay.
Not the Tinder story, the other one. The professional story. But we were talking off camera, and apparently I've got the story all wrong. But we'll go into the story. But the reason I love the story is because obviously we worked with you. You helped, if I'm honest, get us to where we're at. You know, you took us from, you know, here's your contract on a post-it note to having the right things in place. But you never sold to me. No. And that's why I bought. So you tell me what actually happened, because we're going to disagree as to how it works. So I think both versions are right. It's maybe just it was a sequence of events, isn't it? So I think I met you early on LinkedIn. So again, LinkedIn was the platform for, you know, where my potential clients would be, where my professional network would be, and I was keen on growing that network of connections through that channel. So, you know, I guess it's the power of a good profile picture, because I thought, good-looking guy, you know, great hair, chiseled, you know, he's... Thank God for Photoshop.
I'm always attracted by, you know, a glossy veneer. And so I thought, why not? Nothing to lose. It made me feel good anyway, Liz. But I guess that, for me, you gave something of yourself for nothing to me as advice. So I guess you saw me as somebody setting out in business, somebody who was quite local, and we had a video call. You know, we had a good conversation, got a sense of each other's personalities, and you know, I took away that good advice. So I think at the point when the point came to Kickstarter was a big thing. Was I set up at the start of lockdown. Furlough was a big deal. Redundancies all over the place. That throughout that to get people back to work. Kickstarter came, didn't it? So I think for me it wasn't really a conscious decision. It's who I was talking about Kickstart program on LinkedIn as my kind of marketing and how I could support clients. And the logical next step was who else would benefit from knowing this, and who do I know, small business owners in the local area who could really benefit. And you were one of, a few that I just shared information with. And I guess you reached out to me and said, oh, this is interesting. Let's talk more,
Absolutely. It's pretty much the same story I share.
Yeah.
Mine involves you riding into my office on a big white horse, topless, but, some say tomato, some say tomato. Do you know what I mean? And that was it. And what I loved about how we started to work together, I mean, I could open up my emails now, I could open up my LinkedIn, and I could guarantee I could find, 5 or 10 emails very quickly of someone saying, we deliver great HR services. Oh, yeah. Do you need a contract? Do you need an employee handbook? You contact me if you need any help.
Yeah.
And it's very aggressive, very confrontational, very pushy. There's no relationship. If you're gonna bed with me, take me to dinner first, kind of thing.
Exactly.
They're straight there. But with yourself, obviously, we've had these initial conversations, and it was like, look, Rob, I know you don't need me now. When you're ready, I'm always here if you ever just want to chat X, Y, Z. And if memory serves, I could be wrong. If memory serves you're correct, so with the Kickstarter campaign, it was big for our business. Fundamentally, it was getting help for the business paid for by the government. Yeah, exactly. If the government's paying anything, you're going to take it. It's a very rare thing, right?
Yeah.
And you shared some value with me. You shared an article. Now, if memory serves you're right, I could be completely wrong. You didn't even share like a blog that you had authored. You didn't sort of send me read my blog and made it really propaganda biased towards using you. It was just an article all about the Kickstarter scheme. Yeah. And you just said, look, this is available. If you want to chat about it, let me know.
Yeah.
And it piqued my interest.
Yeah.
We had a chat. And although, yes, I could have walked away from that, taken on the Kickstart and gone with it. We then developed a good relationship to say, look, Rob, I can support you in a long run. So I think, that's for me. And obviously, if you're watching this and you're sort of curious as to how you engage in conversations, don't make it so pushy.
Yeah, absolutely.
Build that relationship.
It's cold, and none of us like it. It riles me. So as I mentioned earlier, I've got that early sales background as a kid, and I loved and enjoyed it, but I've never sold to people. And my view of that was, you helped me, with some good, wise sharing your wisdom when I was setting up, and a few months later, well, why wouldn't I try and help you, for something that could benefit your business, whether that was me or not. It might have been part of my thinking, but it's not the way. It's not the way. People buy people. It's a try comment, isn't it? We say it all the time, but people buy people, and you're not going to everyone won't want to be your client. You may have to say no to people. You won't like everybody, so therefore, why would you do business? If we don't like each other, then let's be mature and go our separate ways and do something different with different people. But people buy people, and it does that model for me doesn't work, and I don't think it works for many people.
No, absolutely, and it was a great approach. We had a great working relationship, and like I say, I'm happy to say you are responsible for where we are as a business and shoring everything up. So you're to blame. So thank you very much. But I guess the final question then, because as I'm sure the viewer would love to sit and watch the new Anton Deck for another hour. The final question: if you could go back, those 4 years ago, you sat there on Instinct HR's desk. If you could go back as yourself and give yourself some words of wisdom, words of advice, what would you say?
What would it be? That's a really good question. I guess there's a few elements to it for me. I think I've just referenced one of it is don't be afraid to say no.
I thought you were going to say don't do it.
No, do it. Yeah, do it. There's no set journey, that's for sure. It will take you to places you never thought you'd ever go to. But don't be afraid to say no. If you say yes to everything, you'll probably make yourself incredibly busy but very miserable, and you may not have earned a lot of money. Don't be afraid to say no. I think know your own value as well. So when I started out, I intentionally priced myself probably relatively cheap, despite my years of experience and having something additional to a lot of other HR consultants that they couldn't offer through their services because they don't have that experience. I pitched it relatively cheap because my business was new and it was young, and it's like, well, yeah, you kind of start and grow and grow and grow. So eventually you learn your own value. And I think the lesson I learned was if you price appropriately, you attract a different client, and you know, things, less is more. You know, you can work with less people and get more from it in terms of value for yourself and achievements and what have you. So that's another one. I would say trust your instinct, wouldn't I?
Nice little slogan there for you.
Yeah, I should use that, shouldn't I? But it's true. We all know, don't we? Whether it's head, heart, or gut, making that decision, your instinct will make the right decision. So I think listen to that. You could listen to all of the coaches and all the salespeople, the experts, and whatever else. You've got to trust your instincts 100%. I don't mean to be trite when I say that or cliche, but it's true. Yeah, we know and trust it. Yeah, 100%.
Really like that. Some really good thoughts to take away. Really good thoughts. I saw an interview with Richard Branson not too long ago, and he said the same thing. He said, if I show my business plans to an accountant or a business consultant, they'd have told us no. And I think in particular, talking about Virgin Airlines, he said, but I knew in my heart I could do it. I could do it in my way, and it'd be a success. So I think, trust your instinct, HR, and
exactly,
and go for it. So look, Darren, it's been great. There's probably a lot we could probably dive deeper into, if I'm honest, but. Look, obviously, I want the viewers to carry the conversation on with you. We will put Darren's contact details or website somewhere around this video, more than likely below. But Darren, do you want to share with the audience your contact details, your LinkedIn, your website? How's best for people to get?
Yeah, so all of those things. So you can contact me, Darren at instincthr.co.uk. That's my email. You can Google search Instinct HR. It will come up.
Good.
So I'll, on my website, all my contact details are on the website, so everyone can contact me through there. But I'm on LinkedIn, my website. They're the primary areas. Yeah.
Amazing. Well, look, Darren, really appreciate your time.
Oh, thank you.
Thanks so much for joining us. And no, thank you, and thank you to the viewer for joining us on this journey, on this vlog. As always, we put a lot of time and effort into these, and it's always a pleasure that you've lasted this long. But before you go, don't forget to hit that subscribe button, hit the like button, drop a comment below. Why don't you share this with a business contact, a colleague, or one of your peers as well? I'm sure they'd love to watch it. Thank you so much for your time. And until next time, all the best.